I was leading a workshop today and I looked in the room and I saw myself staring right back at me. She was sitting there. She had tried all the things, all the diets, all the programs, all the coaches, and she was hit the point where she had just given up and couldn't even imagine she was capable of losing weight anymore and believing. And in that moment, my heart just collapsed in and inspired this podcast here with you guys today because I need to speak it again and again until I reach every woman out there in despair and that's given up hope and has done every program and every weight loss thing and has been on the journey and still has not achieved or realized the health she wants in her life. And there's so many things I think that go into this, but I'm going to share with you one of the biggest game changers in my story about doing something no one else had ever taught me to do. And they don't talk about it, right? You hear about mindset work and drink more water and lift the weights and eat this, get the sugar out. And listen, I do all these things too, but this is the thing that hands down move the needle for me. And I created an alternate identity and I stepped into her. And I am still her to this day, even through like she lost 120 pounds. She created this life of her dreams. She took off and traveled the country in an RV. And I'm spoiler alert in my story, but we're getting there. And she lost the weight. And this time, and people look at, or I think people are looking and being like, oh, well, you gained weight back. And you guys, it's so different this time, right? What happened, and I'll share it with my story coming up, but regaining weight wasn't like the fear of regaining weight because I didn't stop. I didn't quit during that time. I was still visioning, still seeking like, okay, what's going on? What's wrong? Because at this point, I knew my thoughts create my feelings and my action. And this brings me to everything that's collided in my world this week, you guys. I am working on my first video for YouTube, like official video where like I've got the scenes and like I'm really showing you how to move through something and I want it to be good. I decided one of the first things it needs to be about is thought awareness, the think, feel, act cycle, something what I think is so simple that they should have taught us in friggin' fourth grade, right? You know what I'm saying? Like just friggin' teach us all so we understand we are the co-creators of our life. And then this book that I'm doing in my Me First Becoming group, we're kind of doing it book club style. And of course, chapter 2 and 3 that we're working on this week are our thoughts is think, feel, act, right? Like becoming the master of your thoughts into awareness. And then, of course, feeling it, feel it to heal it. And so she's got this whole emotional protocol. I can't tell you how excited I am to master visioning even more because it's been game changing on my journey already. So, you know how I am on my podcast, you guys. You got the squirrels. I'm just riffing. Here we go. I want to start with my story. It's been a while since I've told it. And back in 2017, I had moved back to Arizona. So I'm going to lay down like the whole story here. Okay. So for those of you guys that have heard it before, bear with me. So back in 2017, I was living here in Hawaii and my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And Millie's dad and I decided we were already divorced, all of that. We decided I would go back and help my mom and take care of her. And I did that for a few months and my health was so much better there. I started to ask myself, what would it look like if I stayed here? How could I be the coolest mom ever across the ocean? So I stayed working there while I'm caring for my mom and Millie, my youngest, was still over in Hawaii. And my job, I got there. They made a regional position for me there. It was extremely stressful. I had really difficult clients. I felt like I was being pulled from all angles. My mom's dying of cancer, kid across the ocean. And I was leaning into things I knew to deal with things, right? Wine, food, like Netflix, books, like anything to numb out and not feel. And I gradually got up over 300 pounds, which is funny, not funny, but I had this vision like I was going to go to Arizona and care for my mom. I wasn't going to work for a few months and I'd really get into myself. Oh my God, if you guys have nursed your parents through something or helped anyone navigate cancer and the world and everything you have to keep straight and all the running back and forth to appointments. There is nothing but that. It is life consuming. And it was for me, her and her husband, right? So that was different. And then I get this stressful job and it's all loading on. And this is before I didn't understand yet that I could create my world. My world was just happening to me, basically. And I grew up in a very spiritual household. I feel like I've always had a strong foundation in there's something more. And I believe in creation and vision boards and all of that stuff. But I didn't understand the concept of real co creation and what that would look like yet at this point in my journey. And so I set off this one Friday at work where I had just had it, you guys. The software wasn't working. I was just like, I remember shutting the computer down and being like, when I really wanted to like whip my keys across the notice and be like, I'm out of here. Yeah, it's like what I wanted. And I could like calmly shut everything down. I remember feeling like I was in a movie or something, like watching myself in slow motion. I went home, ordered Postmates, got in the holiest yoga pants you've ever seen and got into bed with that food and started Game of Thrones and I didn't come up for air for 3 days. And I called in Monday that I never call in sick, never. And after it was like noon on that Monday, and I looked around and I realized I had become what I feared most, which was my father, like being like my dad. He was severely obese and bedridden at like 40, died at 45 from obesity related disease. So I'd always been my thing. Like I was always paranoid. I was scared I was going to be like that and living in this fear of being it. And it was like really all I knew to seek in my life. But I was just like, I remember looking around and being like, is this all it is? Is this all that life is? I get up and get on the same hamster wheel every day and pay credit cards and eat, sleep, drink. Like, where's the big dreams? What happened? And I remember just being like, well, my kids aren't going to wake up to a dead mom at 45. And that got me up to seek again. And I went to doctors. I was trying to find like help. Like the coaching world wasn't as known as it is now. And I went to my doctor trying to seek like, hey, counseling. I need a psychiatrist. I need help. Like I was like all out on the floor. Like they talk about when you hit rock bottom. Some people, this is alcohol, right? This was like, I'm in despair. I don't believe anymore. And I was trying to get someone to talk to about it. And I ended up going on this journey. I looked into weight loss surgery, and luckily you had to wait 6 months because as I was waiting that 6 months, talking to some nutritionists who knew jack shit about nutrition in my world, I'm like, look, I'm not 45 and fat because I don't know about nutrition. I know all the things. Like you guys know me. I've got like 50,000 certificates, right? None of that's changed. I was like, I figured it out. I tried all the things all the time. Freaking every diet and all the stuff, right? And she's quoting some old ass food pyramid to me. I'm like, oh, girl, and she's like this big. So anyhow, let me get off the nutritionist at the weight loss clinic. Still, obviously, a sore point for me. So, you guys, so I head off on my little hero's journey, right? I'm off seeking. I'm in this ball of misery. It says down and dark as I could get. I was like, what is this? And I also empty nested early, right? And I think I was also perimenopause and the doctors don't know jack shit about that. So I head off seeking. And I remember going to this keto doctor and she was telling me how, like, laying out the plan for me and what it would look like as I dropped this weight. And I remember crying in her office and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm crying. I don't know why. And she was like, well, you have hope. And I was like, I was in despair. And then I ended up not doing it because they had to take my blood all the time because I could die. And I was like, well, that doesn't sound like a good idea. I don't want to die. Right. Like, that's why I'm on this quest. So And meanwhile, I didn't know I was on a quest. This is for you to have a visual arc of my little hero's journey here. And so I am off seeking, and I run into these little books called Lillian Blake's Single Wide Female. They're little fictional books of this heavyset girl with a pretty face that was waiting her whole life to do things until one day she was like, "You know what? I'm gonna start doing these things now. I'm gonna do an everyday bucket list." And I was like, "Well, I need an everyday bucket list because don't make any mistake. I mean, I might have been heavy, but I wasn't like I didn't let it stop me from living life. You know what I mean? I still like to do things. So it wasn't totally I still did yoga and like other things, right? But I decided delete that part. So I made this everyday adventure list. And still to this day, we do this in my Me First Guide workshops and the events for the planner because there's something game changing about having an everyday bucket list for yourself and identifying specific things you want to try and trying new things because you're going to never know what could be that one thing that could click you. This book I was telling you about, what we learned in here is there's 161 ways to neutralize your emotional state. And we were like, what? Whoa. And then Amy in the group's looking up, what are the 160 ways? And I'm like, I don't listen, I got tapping, I got meditation, I've got journaling, I've got thought models. Like these are my skills. 160, where do we start? Anyhow, you guys, there's lots of different things to uncover on your journey out there. There isn't one right way, right? But I don't know. So I write on this everyday adventure list. Meditation was on there because I knew at the end of yoga, I liked that feeling after. I'm like, I think that's meditation. I think. I don't know. So anyhow, as one does, and I swear to God, I only wrote this on paper, you guys. I wrote meditation somewhere. And in that, everything in my news feed, all this stuff starts coming about meditation and specifically transcendental meditation. And I was like, I don't know. This kind of looks like a cult, like they're going to suck me in. And then I was like, well, what have you got to lose? Here's a little intro. It literally had to come in my news feed 8 times. So you business and life coaches, you people trying to start your business, remember people have to see you a lot before they start to trust you. They think you're a cult and you're going to suck them up, which is, I have a whole segue on that. But anyhow, I thought it was a cult, but I went anyhow because at that point I was like, well, that's got to be better than this. So I go to the cult. No, I'm just kidding. So I go to meditation, and I remember the guy saying, I hadn't signed up yet because you go to this orientation and they run you through everything about meditation and why. And I was like, wow. And then he said, and if you do this twice a day for the next year, you will not be the same person. And just in true Addie fashion, how I try everything is I'm like, well, that's not true for me. I'm special. I'll show you because they were like, you get your money back if it doesn't work, whatever, right? So I practiced for 2 weeks, twice a day, 20 minutes meditating. And my daughter was like, Mom, whatever you're doing, keep it up. And I didn't even understand what was going on, but I was learning to regulate my nervous system, right? And this is one of those 160 ways out there, you know? And something else meditation really started to teach me is that I was the observer of my thoughts, you know? This is like, if you want to know be able to see your thoughts, just close your eyes and try to meditate. You'll see 60,000 of them in there, right? It's like when you meditate, learning to release that judgment of a thought and being able to allow yourself to see them, which is a skill this is the superpower, the awareness. And so I lost about 20 pounds just meditating, and I'm still on my little journey. And at this point, feeling good and knowing, I'm not going to do that weight loss thing. It didn't feel right. I think I was going to do the sleeve because my friend had the sleeve. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do that. I'll be easy. And then I started to find this and feel better and get back in my groove again and start to understand. Also, not knowing I had all this hormonal stuff going on. And so then I found life coaching and I found the Think, Feel, Act cycle. And I was like, I was in, it was called Fit and Fat then. It's now No BS Women. And shout out to Corinne Crabtree. She forever changed my life. And Brooke Castillo, their work they put in the world on helping us understand our minds changed my life forever, right? No, delete that. And then I found the world of life coaching and started to understand that my thoughts create my actions and my feelings, and more importantly, what I could do about it. And that'll be the YouTube video I create for you guys, showing you how I do that process, consciously creating it every day. I'm going to just keep this podcast my story. So I find this out, and then I get into the future self work, right? So I'm like really in awareness of my thoughts. I'm seeing myself take actions, but I'm still not quite believing it, right? I'm like, yeah, okay, my goal's 175 or whatever, which was my Weight Watcher goal. And I'm 5'9", just to give you a reference. If you're in the weight loss world, that's always important. What's your SW? My SW was like 290, or 320 or 30. I think I stopped weighing at some point up there, and I'm 5'9", right? And so my goal being, so the problem was I couldn't imagine myself as this future self. I started to learn how important visioning was, and I had done Jack Canfield stuff for a while. So I had some concept of this, but I didn't have the tools to put it in place. So this set me off on this big journey to find all these tools to consciously create my life. And I just started trying everything. And at some point, I built Slayer, and this was really early on in my journey. It was like April of that year, right? Of I started meditating in January. In April, I created Slayer. And she was my badass. She showed up and she became my warrior inside. And she showed up when it was hard. She made it easy for me to have an objective view of myself. I think one of the things as women, especially, we do is we judge ourselves for everything, right? We judge ourselves for our thoughts, especially for not caring for others before ourselves. And a big part of my journey was learning to put myself first, and Slayer put herself first. Right? She said, I am a badass. I'm going to show up first, and it's going to be even better for my family. Right? So how could I be the coolest? How could I be the coolest mom across the ocean? Well, wouldn't it be cool if I started a business and bought an RV and showed her the states? So when you live on the island, you don't get an opportunity to do that. When we live in the United States here, we can hop in a car and go road trip. Here we've got a little island we ride around, and when you go visit somewhere, you don't road trip. So I was like, wouldn't that be cool? But in my back of my head, I'm like, and at this point, I was already sharing live on Facebook my whole journey, because I was like, asked my future self, I said, if you really believed, this is a great question to ask yourself, you guys. If you really believed you were going to get that goal, what would you do now? Like, fully believed it. And my answer was, I would start telling everybody, now I am doing it, and here's how I'm doing it. Follow me on my quest. And to this day, this is what I do. I'm still on the quest, right? We had a little detour into mold toxicity and hormones and about 80 pounds, and we're on it again. And all I did was put my alter ego Slayer back on, and we're almost at 25 pounds for the year. So just from the meditation and building out Slayer, this alter ego who embodied this version of me that I couldn't imagine being, and I made her really fantastical. I think the more out there you can make your alter ego, the more badass, the more mystical, magical, whatever, it allows your mind to just dream. It allows it to get your head out of your ass, if you will, right? Because we want to stay in restriction. We want to stay over here in the old self. It's safe. And at some point, it starts to be addictive to be safe over here. Like, your brain's job is to keep you here. Your brain's job is to keep you on the safe side. Although our highest self wants us to go over here, right? It's like that choice in every moment. And Slayer is the one that made the choice that took us over here. She didn't take the easy route. She had leathers and a sword, and her lair was like a Batman cave on fire, right? A little more earthy, a little more witchy, a little woo, but like Batmobile style, right? Like, but also in the red rocks, in this glass house is still kind of my vision today, like where I'm like in the earth. And like this came out, I have a video on here, I'll share with you if you're watching on YouTube, from my beginning of this year when I was starting on this journey on the mountain that saved me. And that was part of the start of like my quest this year. I was back in Arizona and I was up there. It was very nostalgic. So, anyhow, you guys, I built this alter ego and I started changing. I started to become her, right? Because our belief, our identity is tied to all of these. So, this is a good example. In this book, she talks about it being like a city in your mind, right? Like the pavement, the road, the pavement are the thoroughfares. Those are your thoughts, or your the cars are the thoughts on the thoroughfare. The buildings are the experiences that you take going through, or they're your actions that are adding up along this highway, right? And now we've got all these buildings built, and then they all connect in this big interweb in our mind. And the more and more we make that groove, we make the road more permanent, the more it's a belief. And this happens when we keep repeating things to ourselves. It can be a positive thing and it can be a negative thing. And sometimes we just need to feel the thing and we don't let ourselves feel. And this is why I think, like on a weight loss quest, so many of us, it turns spiritual. It turns into this awakening, this discovery of this radiant, badass self just in you waiting to shine. Because once you stop eating it, drinking it, reading it, Netflixing it, once you stop consuming and putting in, and you allow that magic right inside of you to be, to shine, to talk to you, once you're in that space, my whole computer just glitched when I said that. That was cool. That was spirit. Spirit's here. See, I'm just saying, you guys. So once you're in that space where feeling and unlocking that radiant self and you're friggin' lighting the world up and your soul's on fire, I used to call it seeking your heart sing. Right? When you're in that space of not consuming and creating, you become the conscious co creator. And this comes through awareness. Now, none of us set out on this weight loss journey, on this build your business journey, with the thought that I'm going to have a spiritual awakening, right? Or that I'm going to meditate and it's going to change my life, right? Like we set out to try to solve it from the outside first, like by eating keto or paleo or getting a weight loss surgery or drug, or like we try to solve it on the outside. But the happy isn't at the skinny. You just have a new set of problems. Life is always this 50-50, this give and take. And if it wasn't, we wouldn't be experiencing it. Our job is to learn how to feel emotion, is to learn how to stay in it till it changes us. This is why, like, I'm still working this alter ego slayer from 2017. She lost 120 pounds. And we kept that off for a while. Life changed. I got uprooted, moved back here to Hawaii to be with Millie for high school. And we took a job. I started playing kind of small again and not listening to my magic inside. And my body like wasn't having it, but I had a lot of great things that came through that seeking my health. And now on this healing journey and this inflammation and all of these things I'm working through, but led me here to this moment with you guys and to be in this space where I feel so good about what I'm creating and sharing. And if you are this woman out there in despair, or you don't quite know what to create and you don't think it's possible for you, you get an imposter syndrome, you look at other people, oh, I could never do it like them. I could never come and talk. And just so you know, like the whole can't come here and talk like me. You guys think this shit's easy? So the point is, you guys, even through this period where I've put weight on, there was never the fear that it used to be before that 2017 version of me figured all of this out, figured out the path of caring for myself, my identity, and creating these routines, because I still had all of that. And I was still doing my Me First Guide events every corner where I'm dreaming and visioning. I ended up doing this a full year and a half before I planned because of all of that, because I didn't quit, because I stayed in it and I went on my quest and my journey. I'm not saying weight loss doesn't involve food or fitness or health or anything. I think absolutely it does. But I think even more, It is based on what you believe, how you think and feel about yourself. And the more and more you can step into awareness of your thoughts and your actions and your feelings, your emotions, the more and more you step into becoming and living as your highest self. Like our complete life journey is about discovering how the hell to do that, right? So, right now in my community, we're building alter egos, we're building slayers. Because the other thing that happened back in 2018 when I started sharing online, all these other badasses started making their alter egos and they're all losing weight and we're doing challenges and we're having fun. And also, we're becoming her. Right? And we still like all call each other by these other names, right? Like Slayer and Rio and Sunfire and like it goes on and on. So I didn't set out, you guys, to teach thought awareness or alter egos. I set out to lose weight because I was a ball of friggin' misery. And when I built Slayer, I accidentally become an observer of my life and I accidentally unlocked this whole wealth of creation from right within me, all these dreams from childhood I had shoved down and didn't dare to think was possible for me, and started to be like, what if? What if I bought an RV and traveled the country with what would that? And we had the most epic adventures for 3 years. It was great. You guys wanna get to know your teenager, throw them in the RV, take the iPad away, and there's no better bonding, right? Like road trip, elevated. So through this awareness and building this superpower, I didn't know what I was gonna unlock. And I think this is the same for all of us, you guys, when we start to go on this journey of self-exploration, when you set a goal and your only criteria is that you can't quit. This is why I do a 90-day plan because you got to get through the messy middle of habit building. And it's just enough time that you can get in another session before you want to quit. Your brain wants you to stay safe. We're addicted to this, to doom scrolling on our phones, to consuming, to my thing is reading books, to watching Netflix, to whatever it might be. We're over here in this addiction of like, your brain's like, these dopamine hits feel good. It doesn't quite yet feel good to meditate and journal, Addie. Like, this is like behavior. Like, eventually, this feels so good, you just want to show up and do it. And when you don't do it, you feel out of sorts, but it takes a while to get there. And so it's a slower build. This isn't a quick fix to change your identity, you guys, especially when we're over 50. You have neural pathways built. So if you are doing a quick fix, I would just highly recommend also looking how to fix those highways in your brain. And how do we overcome these limiting beliefs? And how do I keep going? And I would volunteer that community is the place that keeps you going, right? You show up to places for the course or the program or whatever, but you stay for community. And why do you stay for community? Because it changes you. You make connections. We are growth seeking beings and we're also wired to be accepted and around our tribe. So you want to be around other people that are seeking what you're seeking. So if you're a badass looking to seek to become something more, to unlock this light right within, to create this next chapter of your life, to finally fucking lose the 100 pounds and show yourself what's what, get your ass in midlife badassery. I don't know what you're waiting for. It's not going to get much better than this, man. Like, we are building badass alter egos, and this takes you to the next level. And at very minimum, you guys do that this week. Like in my one group, in my Me First group, we are doing nothing but watching emotions this week. Like, who can watch the most emotions? And can you name them? That's like a bonus if you can name them. So play along with us. See if you can watch your emotions this week. And then maybe you level it up to thought awareness, right? And if anything, you might be a little more conscious thinking what is creating in your life. So all of those things colliding together between this visioning book and, having this woman sit across from me that is like, I don't even know what I'm capable for in this. I'm here to tell you guys, if you're in that space, I feel you. I understand. I was there, and this is a process that will absolutely help you start living it now. Like, you can feel good right now. This is why we create this alter ego. You walk and talk like her more and more every day. You can become her as fast as you can collapse that timeline to let your mind dream and let your mind go. That's the only thing stopping you from feeling good right now is your mind. And okay, maybe a little bit of hormones depending on where you are with perimenopause. Okay, you guys. On that note, okay, you guys, go dream big, step into awareness, see if you can see your thoughts this week, and come dare to step into her. Come dare to build your friggin' alter ego, and let's go to that next level. Subscribe, follow along, like, leave a review, do all that jazz. It really helps my channel out, my podcast. And I love and adore you all. Tell all your midlife badass friends. No badasses need not apply, but we all got one inside somewhere. All right. Slayer out.